Yeah, me. Where do I begin? A century ago, when my great-great-grandfather took his son and decided to come to North America for a better opportunity, there is no right or wrong answer. All that matters is you make a choice in life. For me, I don't know, being defined by one specific thing was just something that I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. I was like, look, I don't want to just be an actor. I don't want to just be in the film industry. There was a huge element of why am I actually doing this? We're just having fun with it. Hey, Salaam everyone, and welcome to the UFK Show. My name is Umar Farouk Khan, and for the first episode, I think it's only right that we start off talking a little bit about what the heck the show is even going to be about. I mean, first and foremost, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, there isn't any real structure. It's primarily going to be me just talking about life. There's another chair over there, so maybe chatting with a couple people and hearing about their life story, their journey. And then also, different things that I'm passionate about, whether it's, doing reviews, unboxings, talking about fashion, lifestyle, health, optimization, all those different little things, entrepreneurship, business, etc. You name it. At the end of the day, just having fun with it. But there aren't really going to be any cuts. It's, there's a second camera. So, switching back and forth between the two. But realistically speaking, it's just going to be me just chatting away, keeping it very off the cuff or, speaking straight from the heart, not to be melodramatic about it. But yeah, me. Where do I begin? Well, I guess, we can go all the way back to 1912, over 100 years ago, a century ago, when my great-great-grandfather took his son and decided to come to North America for a better opportunity, So back in the day, all right, let's get comfortable and cozy over here. Back in the day, in the early 1900s, again, America was a land of opportunity. Everyone had heard about it. And so in 1912, my great-grandfather, his name was Ahmed Ali Khan, he took his son, Amanat Ali Khan, to the West Coast, which the port was in an area in Canada called British Columbia. Vancouver is where I ended up growing up. But when they came there, they actually traveled down south and they headed over to a place called El Centro. Yeah, was it El Centro? Yeah, El Centro, California. And they went to El Centro, and that's where they went. And it's crazy. They did agriculture. They did hard labor for 10 cents an hour, $1 a day. And they were in the hard, in the baking sun at that time. But I mean, if you think about it, that was it was American dollars. And coming from, which at that time was India and now Pakistan, it's a whole long story right over there. Let's save that for another day maybe. But, at that time, coming from, a place like India, that was, mind blowing. And so to be able to go and have that opportunity, they definitely took advantage of it. And, 5 generations later, here I am and, living off of, the efforts and the hard work of, my forefathers, literally. I never even got to meet either of them. Interestingly enough, my great-grandfather, Amanat Ali Khan, he lived till 105. And even crazily enough, his wife lived till 105 as well, actually. They both lived to 105 years old. So it's it's amazing when you look back at history, at what you can learn. So, for me, I feel like that's one of the first things you can ever really find out about who I am is that, a huge part of my life was even before I was born, and another interesting story, if I may share, is, none of this could have happened potentially because in 1912 is when they came. In 1914 is actually when a huge incident happened in history called the Komagata Maru incident. I believe I'm saying that correctly, but the Komagata Maru incident was basically a story of how there were a bunch of people from India who were coming over to Canada, and it was happening so often that eventually the people in Canada, especially in that area of BC, they were so upset they actually sent them back and they turned them away from the seaport. And, there was a huge element of racism at that time, and, not to get super deep and dark about it, but basically the gist of it is that a difference of 2 years means that myself and my whole family, everyone I'm related to, would have been turned away and wouldn't have actually been accepted into Canada at that time. But Canada has since then rectified and apologized about the incident. So there's a whole mural, and they have a little, I think it's like a little statue or something like that about it in an area called near Canada Place. But I digress, which I'll probably end up doing a lot. But that is the initial origins, the lore of of my life, if I can even say that. But yeah, then I ended up growing up in was born in at a hospital called BC Children's. So I was born there, and yeah, Vancouver is home for me. That is, where I spent most of my life. Spent a bit of time in an area called Surrey as well, which was a very interesting experience. That could be another journey and story for another day. But yeah, I went to high school named Point Grey. That's pretty much where I finished up high school. So to flash forward, then did high school at a school called Point Grey, and from there ended up going to a school called UBC. But Point Grey is actually where I originally started acting. It was where I took a theater class, fell in love with it, caught the bug, and the rest of my life, from there on out was definitely the trajectory changed for sure. But ended up going to university because my parents were like, "You got to get a degree." You know, I love my parents. I love my parents, but man, it was a grind getting a degree, going and doing my bachelor's. I mean, I did a bunch of different things. I took so many different courses. Was doing business in the beginning, then transitioned into like philosophy and psychology, and ended up going into history, which is pretty much what I ended up finishing in, but I ended up making my own degree anyways. But it was a grind. It was a few years, but UBC was a great experience. Ended up making lifelong friends. A lot of my business partners, I met him there originally. So, at the end of the day, I can't say enough about how it was such a great experience for me. But during that whole time, I'm not gonna lie, I was in love with the film industry, and I wanted to be an actor. And at that time, I was so gung ho about actually getting that done. So as soon as I was done, and throughout the whole time I was in the industry, but when I got done, I really full sent it, was able to go and do a bunch of short films, went and did a bunch of school projects, and then started doing the independent, film festival circuit. And then, ended up going on a couple of TV shows. It was on Netflix, Amazon, did a couple bits here and there. And the main thing that I ended up deciding is I was like, look, if I'm going to wait for my agent to call me for my big break, I was like, I'm going to be waiting forever. So decided to take, opportunity into my own hands, and started to want to create my own project. Was able to meet a really cool individual who we connected on, ended up making a film together, an independent feature, and it's going to be coming out later this year. So that'll be fun. I'll definitely chat about that later on, what that experience was like, because it was a whole experience and a half. But yeah, no, I loved it. I loved every second of it, but after finishing it, it was like that was kind of my dream to be in a feature length film, to star in a feature length film. But I realized that it wasn't what made me happy, and there was a huge element of the why am I actually doing this? And so that was actually when I took a little bit of a break. Ended up leaving the film industry. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. No, totally fine, guys. See, again, I'm not even gonna edit that out. But anyways, there was a lag in the switch. But anyways, regardless, what ended up happening is I just for me, the best way to put it is that I didn't see myself doing that for the rest of my life. I looked at that situation of, okay, cool. Cause that was, I started to get really busy after that. I started to get, offers for the leads in other feature length films, and, some theater opportunities to tour all of North America. And I was excited. I was really going to potentially go down that road. But I thought, you know what? This isn't true to who I am. And what I wanted in life was to focus more on myself, who I am as an individual, instead of playing characters, try and be me. And so I reconnected with one of my best friends at that time, and we were chatting, and he was coming out of his own industry as well, and we reconnected and started our own business together. And that was my foray into entrepreneurship and making my own business, New Horizons, which was, it was a blessing. It was a really, really amazing experience for me to go down that route rather than, just, because again, look, don't get me wrong. I think there's so much value in sticking to one thing, becoming an expert, becoming a master at your craft, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, like, I don't know, being defined by one specific thing was just something that I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. And honestly, funnily enough, actually, that's what this show is also a testament to. That, I don't want to be like one specific thing in this world of online social media, et cetera, et cetera. I kind of want to just mess around, see where life takes me, bounce around, do different things, have fun with it. Instead of just, yes, getting a niche is important, but I mean, again, to each their own. But for me, again, at that time, I was like, look, I don't want to just be an actor. I don't want to just be in the film industry. Went into, making my own businesses and started doing a couple other things. Was always a little bit in construction and development and real estate as a byproduct of my family. And, so I was able to go and build property and building properties is something that I probably will always be a little bit involved in. I will always love it. But again, even that to a certain extent it was fun. Like I don't like developing is awesome, but it was really cool to have my business partner because it was about expanding the family office and taking it to that next level and traveling and going abroad, taking things internationally. And so tapping into the GCC was a really, really cool experience for myself. To go out to, the Middle East, which was, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Again, it was just such an eye-opening experience to see what was going on over there. And then, of course, in Europe, all the different business that we were doing out there, all the people and the different relationships that we were able to establish. So it was really cool to work on, developments and projects that were at such a massive scale. Like city master plan strategizing was something that I never thought I would get into, consulting these massive, royal and ruling families, meeting princes. It was cool. I won't lie, guys. It was a great experience. But again, after a couple of years of doing that, I realized that I missed the film industry. I wanted to go back, and so now I'm here. I am, doing a little bit of everything. Just kind of messing around. And at the end of the day, it's something that. And by the way, if I'm talking to the right or wrong camera at any point, like I'll be honest, I can't be bothered. I'm just kind of messing around, switching them back and forth. But at the end of the day, I feel like with myself personally, there is no right or wrong answer. All that matters is you make a choice in life. And so for me, where I am in my life at this point, at least, yes, I'm very happy and alhamdulillah, very grateful for, Allah Mubarak, the opportunities that we've been able to have with, the businesses that I've been able to establish. But at the same time, I'm very passionate about the film industry. So I came back and I've, we're working on making a couple films and been, just did another TV show. And so again, it's like, it's fun to do that. But something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And the real ones who know, and if you stuck around this long, you remember when I was, back in, early days, 2022, I remember I started a channel and it was fun kind of doing that. And, even going way back when, I remember, in 2012 when, my sister, shout out to her, she told me, she was like, get on YouTube. And I was like, nah, it's oversaturated at that point. And, I was like, is that even what I want to do? Fast forward years now. And I mean, I think that's like the number one requested job apparently for kids nowadays, to be on YouTube. And so for myself, I wanted to have a platform and an opportunity to actually speak to people. Like, look, I've been off the grid and, just doing my own thing low key for the last, better part of a half a decade. And it's been fun. I enjoy it. But at the same time, it's nice to be able to actually talk to people and connect at a wider scale. And so that's what I want to primarily focus on this show about, is that in this new chapter of my life, I created this show so that way I could go and I could, talk to, people who care to listen to this and want to hear me even ramble, hear people's stories, potentially even share my insight and my experience in life. Because, something that I've learned over the years is that anyone's advice is based on their own life experience. And with the life experience that I have, with the way that, with the way God, made me, the way I see things, I at least want to at least share my voice and have it be heard as to some of the outlooks that I have, some of the systems that I've put in place. And if it can be beneficial to even one person, that's dope. If not, that's okay as well. At the end of the day, it's something that's for fun, that, who knows where it'll go. And, I want to take it to potentially different realms as well. Again, going on other people's shows, again, bringing people on here, talking about different things that I love to use. The new iPhones came out, unbox those. The Vision Pro, that was a cool experience. I ended up doing that, and I want to share and talk about it. So again, little things like that. And then of course, going out and venturing off and potentially doing other things in real life. That'll be cool too. I mean, there's so many, it's endless basically how many things that can be done as long as, you're actually doing something, and yeah, basically that's what I think this first episode is. It's a little glimpse into my life, who I am as a person. At the end of the day, if you're interested in it or not, you can tune into the second episode. If not, you can probably watch me on the TV show. And if not that, then realistically speaking, I hope you enjoy your life. I hope things are going well for you. I hope you're crushing it. Whoever you are, at the end of the day, I just hope everyone can live a happy life. Something that I've really held on to recently is that we're all given our own hand of cards. And, depending on what cards you've been given, you just have to make the most of it. That's all you can do in life. That's the only choice that we can really make the most out of, is just make do with what we've been dealt. And in the most positive way, in a very beautiful way, it's nice to look at life from that perspective, especially in a world of social media where things can be, so things are so lost in translation, and expectations and standards are set so high. I mean, even me doing this, show with a suit on, I mean, I would have been more than happy to even just do it in a pair of sweats and a baggy shirt. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, expectations are so high. But when you really put it into context and actually look at it, it's not that deep a lot of the time. And so, again, hopefully I can be a voice towards that side of the world. And maybe after hearing my story, you can kind of see somebody who's gone through so many different peaks and valleys and so many different angles and avenues in life, and kind of see how, for example, like all of that took me into, a studio talking to a camera, which a lot of you can even do with your own phone. So it's like, you don't have to do the craziest and biggest thing. As long as you're being you, I think that's the most important thing. And that's what I'm going to try and do my best with, is I'm going to try and just be myself unapologetically, unedited. As you can see, the middle of this, there was that little, again, who cares? It's fine. That's the beauty of life. There's ups, there's downs. I'm probably running around and talking in circles at this point, but it's been fun for the first episode. Not too bad. Let me know. So basically, there's going to be an email in the description, and basically feel free to email any of your questions, thoughts, ideas. Of course, there's a comment section as well, but the email, I'm going to definitely be looking at that. We have our producer who's going to be looking through everything, and we'll be compiling different things. If people have problems, issues they want to share, or even just talk about, or even vent, feel free. I'll probably give my thoughts, which is definitely it's unasked for advice, but at the same time, maybe you want it. Who knows? Either way, it could be fun. It could be cool. And then in general, I think, I'll probably be trying to also do other fun things. Apologies if there's any noise. Studio, be quiet. I don't know what that's about. But either way, hope y'all have an amazing day. This has been fun. This has been a blast. Looking forward to the next episode. Shout out to the mistake earlier on in the video, little switching between. I'm sure I'll get used to it at some point. We're just having fun with it. We're experimenting, and we'll see where this goes. I'm also going to be making a couple other channels. If you see me on it and you see the same backdrop, it's probably a different one. We're going to be doing just a whole slew of different things. I got a couple ideas. It should be fun. But either way, wishing you all the best. Inshallah, you guys have a fantastic whenever you are, wherever you are. And yeah, man, it was a blast. Take care. Talk to y'all soon. Salaam.